pertains to liquor, and Trustee Reinders will recuse herself from any discussion. Consider for approval ordinance number 23-045, an ordinance amending 83-68 of the Code of the Village of Homer Glen, increasing the number of Class B liquor licenses issued within the Village of Homer Glen. Castleford Entertainment and Gaming LLC, 14411 South Bell Road, owner Joseph Parenti, DBA Nikki's Pub. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Mason, is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Cancelino. Trustee Mason?
I met with Mr. Fuente. I went to his facility. He's done, to use of a lack of better words, backflips and hula hoops to make sure he's covered his bases, and I see no reason why not.
Thank you. Trustee Cancelino?
Director Baber, could you explain the two changes that were made coming back before us?
I believe it had to do with, maybe Janie could help me, the changes that occurred.
Okay. Deputy Clerk, Gina Marcotte indicated that I believe there were a couple of changes that were made on the application.
One had to do with the manager listing. He put himself down. In most cases, you wouldn't hire a manager if your project wasn't going to be moving forward, so that would be something that would happen at a later date.
And there was another question regarding if he has any other establishment or liquor license in any other county, and his original answer was no, but he changed it to yes.
Correct.
So, no, I knew that, but I wanted you to explain so everybody could hear. And then also the intent is still to bring in gambling, correct?
I don't know the intent.
Consider on the table today is for his liquor license.
But when he applied before us, he admitted that his intent was to establish gambling, and that's why several trustees said no.
The thing on the agenda today is liquor license. I can't speak for him. I can't speak for Mr. Peretti.
That's all.
Trustee McNaughton? Trustee Fialco?
Yes, this is for the liquor license itself, but we were, I'm sorry, it is for increasing the liquor license by one.
Right.
Right. You're on L2, right? Mm-hmm. What were you saying then?
I thought you were talking about the next one. Sorry.
No. The thing is, there are a few questions about this, and as far as increasing the liquor license by one, I'm all for supporting local businesses, but we did have some issues come up. I guess they can be discussed at part two, maybe. I'm not sure, but the petitioner has come up, and the thing from the beginning has always been the gambling license to go with it. Matter of fact, we can talk about it when we get to that part, though. But that is my. That is all I have to say on this. I'll wait till the next section.
Thank you. Trustee Stylen?
No comments. Sorry, no comment. It's just on the liquor license.
Madam Clerk? Oh, sorry.
Just I think we just need to have a discussion on liquor licenses one of these days. But
yeah, I'm going to talk.
It wouldn't apply to this right now.
I'm going to talk about that under old business or new or wherever. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Cancelino?
No.
Trustee Fialco?
Pass?
Trustee?
No, there's here.
He means present.
Pass does not mean that you're not voting. A pass just means it comes back to me after everybody else.
Gotcha. Okay. Trustee Stylen?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Fialco?
I'm going to abstain.
Motion carries. No, I have to vote. Aye.
Trustee?
Yeah, because it's three.
It passes 3-2.
Well, Rose had to recuse herself. That she doesn't count as a no. Yep, it passes. Sorry. All right, moving on to number 3. Consider for approval ordinance number 23-046, an ordinance assigning an available Class B liquor license, restaurant and bar, to Castleford Entertainment and Gaming LLC, 14411 South Bell Road, owner Joseph Parenti, doing business as Nikki's Pub, located at 14411 South Bell Road, Homer Glen. I also forgot to state this is also a consideration for a liquor license, so Trustee Reinders will recuse herself. Is there a motion?
Still moved.
Trustee Mason and Trustee Cancelino. Trustee Mason?
Again, I think he's got the square footage, he has all the parameters covered, and I don't see why not.
Trustee Consolino?
Mr. Parenti, is your intent still to do gambling?
That's an option.
Is that all you have, Jennifer? Trustee Fialco?
All right. This whole situation here, you've petitioned for two things at one time. Your lease says, matter of fact, your lease is contingent and has the language right in it. So I have a deep concern about two places that are gambling facilities within 150 feet of each other. I don't know if you'd be willing to drop the gambling feature in your contract and just go with your restaurant and your bar. I'd support that 100%. But when we have a gambling facility within 150 feet of each other, we've been scolded before from people who are sitting in this audience about bringing gaming in and oversaturating the village with gaming, right? So there are concerned citizens out there in that regard.
Trustee Fialco, can I ask you a question? Can you please clarify which other?
Yeah, which other, with all due respect, which other establishment? I'm unaware of.
You have Blueberry Hill that
they do not have a.
They don't have a liquor license.
I talked to them and he said that he is.
One is not currently pending.
Here, that doesn't matter. We're discussing this. I know you're saying that, but they've been here before you, and he's already told me that he's going for that, and so I see it as a.
I'm going to call point of order.
Thank you.
Because we're not discussing any other businesses.
No, point of order doesn't have anything to do.
Okay, well, excuse me.
One at a time.
Yeah,
well, you're out of order.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are, because we are only talking. Excuse me, Trustee Fialco, if I may.
Go ahead.
We are talking about Mr. Parenti's petition for a liquor license. This has nothing to do with Blueberry Hill and their potential gaming or his possibility of getting gaming. We are looking strictly at a liquor license. I ask that we please stick to the subject matter.
I can talk about anything I want during the discussion if it pertains to it. There is nothing.
I can, but you misquoted. You misstated.
You're wrong.
You made misinformation. You said
no, I didn't.
2 gaming places within 150 feet of each other. Blueberry Hill has not come forward yet.
Months ago, Blueberry Hill said they were doing gaming. Okay. That's why they came to us. But I'll continue. Even though what you said was incorrect.
No, Fialco, I'm not going to argue with you.
Right, I'm not going to argue with you.
I'm just.
I'm
sorry, Mr. Parenti, that this is happening once again.
If I may, with all due respect, first of all, there is no gaming establishment. There is no current application for one.
I'm not looking for you to tell me.
Trustee Fialco, point of order, Mr. Fialco. Trustee Fialco, please let Mr. Parenti finish. He was speaking. You asked him a question. He's responding.
No, I'm not done yet. With all due respect, when the liquor application was entered, you voted for it knowing that he may be applying for a liquor license along with the gaming license. So it just seems like we have different set of rules applying to different people applying for the same thing. I'm only applying for a liquor license at this time. There isn't 2 gaming locations within 150 feet. So you've misspoken, and those are not the facts.
Okay. Let's go with that. So I guess you're petitioning, though, and in your petition and in your lease, it does say that everything is contingent upon 2 things, correct?
The lease speaks for itself.
Are you a corporation or are you an LLC?
I'm an LLC.
Okay. An LLC, there's different rules when it comes down to it, and let's just go through them.
Sure.
When we take in, just so everybody knows too, the square feet, I think your square foot is fine. I know that was something that came up before. But let's move on here just a little bit. Under an LLC, things are a little bit differently. You are not a corporation, right? You are a limited liability company. And so things are a little bit different. So I'd like, because there's this controversial thing going on as to whether you have to be there or if you have to take and run the place or how you have to manage it and what your percentage is, that's where I'm held up on it a little bit. Because if you read in IML, page 398, it says that basically the way that you're running things, if you were a corporation, it would be different. But under the LLC and operating managers, you're listed as an operating manager, right? So that says in here that you are required to live in the community. Now, I don't know. I've been told that there's other places in Homer Glen.
You voted for one. You voted for one.
But you're not listening.
I am listening.
I don't know. Here,
Point
I'm
of
not
order,
asking
sir.
you for
Excuse
you
me,
to
Mr.
respond to me,
Parente.
yes.
When he is speaking, I ask that you please remain quiet unless he
I
asks a
don't know
question.
if they're a corporation or not, though, at this point. Very few liquor licenses have come across this board that involve this kind of conflict. It's nothing against you. And the thing is, if Blueberry Hill is set up as a corporation and their managers live in Homer Glen, you can then do that. But according to IML, the way it's set up and the way you've structured yourself changes things. So I would like legal counsel to take that and give us advice to make sure we're doing the right thing. Now, because maybe it happened in the past, yeah, go ahead. If it happened in the past, I wasn't here for that. And when you're saying Blueberry Hill, you're right. I didn't look because, you know what? It did not happen in a way or often enough where we were able to review it. But I don't know that he isn't a corporation. So what I'm saying is now that it's been called to our attention, which is different. It wasn't for that one issue that I was involved with, I guess you could say. And I want to help you. I don't know if Paul would say that you could restructure as a corporation and then do it this way, and that would be better. I want to protect you, and I want to protect us.
With all due respect, I have legal counsel. I've done this many times. I am protected. And I'm not sure what you're saying because
right, that's why you didn't cover that part. That's why I'm asking our legal counsel to take a look at it and give us his legal opinion.
I think the application looks fine. He can be.
Well, it's not the application, that's IML rule.
I know, but I'm saying this subchapter seems to be talking about who may. This section talks about elected officials holding mayor-owned property.
Could you read that last sentence, that paragraph?
I know, but you got to read it. You got to read it. I know you have to read it.
Something else.
You have to read it in its entirety, sir. You can't just read it. We're talking here about mayors and presidents. We're talking about almost mirrors the village code. It talks about who can hold a license, and then it says corporate stockholders are exempt from the residency required.
Right.
However, the operating
over 3%.
Over 3%. Yeah, it's a little blurred. However, the operating managers are required to reside in the community.
Right. So, okay. So I don't know what you're.
He's not a corporation.
He's not a corporation. He's an LLC.
So he doesn't have to.
So it doesn't fall into that same category.
Right. So the operating manager doesn't need to live in the community.
It doesn't say that.
It says, that's right. It's silent on it, so that means he's fine.
Yeah, with all due respect, in statutory interpretation, if it doesn't say it, it's silent, doesn't apply.
I just said that, sir.
Can I give you just a minute? No, Mr. Bujan, I'm sorry. Mr. Bujan. No, I'm sorry. Mr. Bujan, I'm sorry. Thank you. Trustee Fialco, are you done?
I am not. We were given some information today about businesses in Homer Glen with square footage. That square footage, not all of these have liquor licenses that go with them. So I'm not sure. The difference is we don't know who is actually listed as a corporation at this point and who isn't. And that's where I was holding back here with this whole thing. I'm not looking for an answer just yet. So this is confusing when we get a list sent to us with the square footage of places, which to me, I don't think it has too much to do with it. But it does say in the Illinois comprised statute 235 ILCS 5/6-2, number 1, it says a person who is not a resident of any city, village, or county in which the premises are covered by the license are located cannot have issuance of the license is prohibited. That's the Illinois state statute. So let me see if that's the last one. And I think that, Paul, I really believe that we should be asking a little bit deeper, maybe called the state of Illinois. I don't know. I just don't want us to get in any kind of problems. And we've already talked about we talked last week about looking at the liquor license and making it, if we can, so you do not have to reside in Homer Glen, but that's not the way the ordinance reads right now. So I'd actually like to change that if we can to accommodate what you're trying to accomplish. And then we were also talking about the gaming license too. So I would just like to do it the right way. I support businesses 100%. I just think that we kind of are rushing into this now that this is something newer that came across the board, and the book is that thick. It's hard to know every rule, and I look them up as we go. But I just think that we need to have council figure this out, or we need to take and change the ordinances to fit your need. That's all.
I'd like to address one more thing too. Director Baber, can you explain to us that if we grant this, he does not have to come before the board to get his gaming license?
Is my understanding at this time, yeah.
Yes, that was my understanding the last time. And the reason the question of the gambling keeps coming up is because several trustees sat on this board at the special meeting that we had a month ago. We had a special meeting regarding this, and they stated that they didn't want any more gambling, that's what the voters did not want, that voted for them. So if that's the case, then if we grant this, then we're opening the doors for more gambling. So based on that, and then I also heard same trustees last meeting complaining that we're not living up to our ordinances or abiding by them. So here we are again, if we vote on this. We haven't changed the ordinance, and we should, and we've all said that we were open to doing so and why we should. But again, you're going against your own ordinance again. So that's all I have to say.
I'm going to request that trustees wait to be called upon to speak again. I'm not going to keep continuing to go out of order. Trustee McNaughton.
Thank you. Let's say that Trustee Fialco is correct, which that's open to interpretation. It's my belief, my understanding that in a managed LLC, that member can appoint or hire a manager to run the day-to-day operations. Would you be opposed to hiring a manager that resides in Homer Glen?
Well, we'll try to, and that's what we put in the application. There'll probably be more than one manager.
Perfect.
But again, with all due respect, I've practiced law for 31 years. What I'm hearing makes absolutely no sense. So I don't know how to dispel something that's nonsensical.
Agreed.
But at the same time, every LLC that's filed doesn't have the ownership operate the day-to-day activities. But to that end, we would have at least one, if not two managers and myself. So that would be full coverage.
Perfect. Okay. Could you speak a little bit to, sort of the budget that you're looking at, the budget spends, how you've revised that potentially from the last meeting? We gave a bunch of feedback at the last village meeting when you appeared to discuss this and kind of what's happened since then.
Sure, thank you. I came before the board. I've heard your concerns. So board members reached out to, explain them in detail. We listened. We went back to the drawing board as a collaboration with Homer Glen. The budget is ballooned about 39%. If you look at the renditions, I think this is a high-scale establishment. With all due respect, 98% of the applications for liquor licenses that this board is given are residents of the community. They don't serve food, gas stations, chicken places. So I've taken the comments at heart. You've seen what we've done. We've corrected every single thing and done every single thing the board has asked. We've gone well beyond the rules. We were within the rules to begin with. We've now gone 100 yards beyond them. And so all I can discuss here is what the requirements are. Have we satisfied them? We have. We've gone beyond them. There's nothing much I think else I can do.
Trustee Stylen?
Yeah, well, this is difficult because I am an anti-gaming person, but what is before me is a business that is following all of our current ordinances and is applying for a license. And the question is the residency requirement. From what I understand, we have like 28 businesses.
39.
Or whatever, and 39?
39 liquor licenses and 8 reside in Homer Glen.
So I don't know why we haven't enforced that and why it has happened, and I've never had to vote that way. So, but then there's also the question about if there's an LLC that you just have to have a manager that lives in here. That part is confusing to me.
Attorney O'Grady just explained, if it's silent, it doesn't mean they have it. So it specifically states a corporation. So if it doesn't say LLC, it doesn't apply. So no, he does not specifically need to have a resident from Homer Glen being his manager.
Okay. So whether Blueberry Hill gets a license or gaming or not, I mean, they have a liquor license. They can come to get gaming without us having a say in it. So I can't, that doesn't apply right here, right now. So I strongly would like us to review this liquor ordinance, because if I were to deny this gentleman here this application, what's to say somebody isn't going to come in another month and ask for an application and then people give him one? So I feel like he's being penalized by who he is, not by not following the rules. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Any closing statements?
Yes.
Trustee Fialko?
What you referred to was IML, not the state statute, which I asked Paul to review for you. So it was IML. It was spoke about, and their verbiage in there. But this, Paul's got the state statute in front of him.
The state statute mirrors the village code.
So the village code mirrors the state statute. That's why it's
in that one section. Yes.
And that's where it comes from, that you have to live in the resident of Homer Glen. I'm willing to change that if we can. I would love to do that, because I don't think it's right.
Well, we've done it 31 times already.
It does, just because we did it before doesn't mean you're right.
Trustee Steilen, Trustee Fialko, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Trustee Mason?
Yes, as Trustee Steilen states, he's asking for a liquor license. He's followed all of our ordinances. We've passed out 39 of these, of which 8 people live in Homer Glens. Again, and I use, for a lack or terminology from Mr. Fialko, a lack of better words, he's done everything. The backflips, the hula hoops, he's made this place beautiful. The rendition is gorgeous. The menu's increased. I met with him. He understood the concerns. CJ, you met with him as well. I don't think we're penalizing the person or the business, and I don't understand why, because he's followed every ordinance. And Trustee Consolino, you said we're not following the ordinances. Actually, we are.
Trustee McNaughton?
I don't believe, based on the information that we have today, that there's not a single ordinance or ordinances that he hasn't not only met, but actually exceeded, based on the information that I've looked at. I went down to the premises, I looked at it, it's over 1,800 square feet. We asked him to revise the menu, he revised the menu. We asked him if he could look at making it white tablecloth style. He has also done that. His budget now is almost 50% over the initial budget. I'm all for bringing new businesses to Homer Glen. I would like to have another spot to go and grab a bite to eat and grab a drink. Based on the rules today, I don't see how we can't approve this. If we don't like the rules, we need to change the ordinances, which I would be more than happy to look at.
Thank you. Trustee Consolino? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. I asked for one discussion and one final closing on this. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Consolino?
No.
Trustee Steilen?
Aye.
Trustee McNaughton?
Aye.
Trustee Fialko?
No.
Motion passes. Moving on to number 4. Thank you, Mr. Pride. Thank you. Consider for approving assigning a